Hey guys, RB here at the Austin Film Festival, and I'm with my buddy Marty Lang.
Hey.
Marty is a writer, a producer, an actor. He is also a professor.
Yep.
And what's really cool, Marty and I go way back. The reason I wanted to do this interview, there's many reasons why I wanted to do this interview. One of them is, you hear me talk about the power of relationships and how it's a long game and everything like that. Marty and I met years ago. We became great friends over time.
Over here, we met here.
Oh, met here, that's right.
Yeah.
We met here in Austin. And then over time, you know, we got involved with each other and said, how can we work together? What can we do? And then when I was offered the opportunity to write Crowdsourcing for Filmmakers, Indie Film and the Power of the Crowd, the book, I needed case studies. And Marty, I remembered, had a really inspirational story about how he put together one of his films, and he became one of my 3 case studies in the book. So Marty, tell them a little bit about the film, that film, because then we're going to get into some stuff that's even more exciting, because this has been a friendship and a journey that just continues to grow and evolve, and it's just been awesome. So tell them about the film.
So Rising Star was sort of my first feature film, made it in Connecticut back in 2010, and we were one of the first films that actually used Kickstarter to raise money for a feature film project. And you know, we made a little over $15,000 in our crowdfunding campaign, but we really spent a lot of time engaging our local community, really getting people involved in the making of the project, involving them on set, making them extras, really sort of having our audience come along for the journey of making the film with us. And it was just a great experience, and we really learned a lot. And we were, I think we were kind of one of the sort of vanguard films that were working in the world of social media and crowdsourcing, and sort of, you know, tried different things that eventually like helped create other processes for filmmakers to go forward with their own campaigns.
Yeah, apparently they're tearing down the hotel. But the cool thing about Marty's story too, in addition to all this, and obviously, you know, for people that aren't familiar with the difference between crowdfunding and crowdsourcing, obviously crowdfunding is the raising of the money, crowdsourcing is the raising of a crowd. It's identifying, engaging, and moving a crowd in support of your film and the project. And there's many things that you could crowdsource. I mean, obviously you're crowdsourcing an audience, people that are going to come see the film. You're crowdsourcing a community of people who are supportive of your efforts to film, if you are raising money, who will donate to your cause. But what I love about your story is you crowdsourced a lot of other things as well, including locations. And one of my favorite parts of the story, and I'm not going to steal your thunder, but tell them a little bit about a location that you were able to crowdsource for Rising Star that, you know, other people might have just thrown their hands up and said, oh, we can't get it.
We had a couple instances like that. We had a lot of folks that were kind of working in the local area trying to find out, you know, if there were places that were interested in letting us film. But we found one really good partner in the Mark Twain house. You guys are familiar with the author Mark Twain. His adulthood home is based in Hartford, Connecticut. So what we were able to do, we went to them and said we were interested in filming. We had no money. They wanted money. But we started talking about other ways that we could work together, and we actually came upon a really interesting solution. They allowed us to film in the Mark Twain house for a day, and which we were the first feature film to ever do so, which was amazing. So they were really taking a big leap with us, and we did that for next to no money. But in exchange for that, when we had the first cut of the film done, we actually did a focus group screening at the Mark Twain Museum. And the Mark Twain Museum was able to keep all of the ticket proceeds as a way of getting paid. And when they ended up having that night, we sold the screening out. And they made 3 times more money than they would have made if we had paid them full freight.
For the location.
Yep.
I mean, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, the resourcefulness, again, this is why I want to do this interview on top of a number of reasons, but I think a lot of independent filmmakers get so caught up in the money that they don't understand, they don't get resourceful in ways that they can make something happen or, you know, get around the fact that they don't have that money. For example, you know, you sourced equipment as well. You know, there are other case studies in the book where people sourced all this great equipment, unbelievable cameras, you know, for a credit or for, you know, a chance to be on set. It could be anything. So, you know, you did some really interesting things there, you know, to be able to say, okay, this is the amount of money we have, but we really need these locations and we really want this equipment. I mean, talk about some other things you sourced.
Oh gosh, we actually had a Facebook poll that we put out to all the people that were following the film, and we said, is there anything that you could give us?
Yeah.
Because we just wanted to see what we could get. And we ended up getting another location in the film. It was just a local person's home. They had always wanted to be part of the film.
Yep.
They let us film in the house for free. We had folks come in. We had a woman offer us her violin playing services. She worked in the Hartford Orchestra.
Amazing.
We had a guy who ran a construction company offer us free concrete services.
I mean, you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's limitless, right?
Yeah.
The whole idea behind crowdsourcing is you're giving people ownership.
Yeah.
You're getting them involved, and by getting them involved, they want to put their weight behind you, right? Didn't you have a radio station also get behind?
Yes.
I mean, listen to this. I mean, again.
We had the local Hartford big top 40 radio station. Their big DJ was also an actor. His name is Gary Craig, and we offered him a role in the film. It was a small role, two scenes, and he spent weeks talking about the film on the radio and letting the local community know that we were there. And it gave us an immense amount of press. It gave us, the day we needed extras, we asked Gary to put the call out on the radio.
On the radio.
So we could get people. We had more people than we needed. It was brilliant, the amount of help that Gary gave us, and it was all because he was part of the project and he wanted to help.
I mean, it's remarkable. Again, you could source anything. But it's all about identifying, right? So identifying that audience, which you did, you know, and identifying the need and who could facilitate that need. Right. Engaging them in a selfless way and in a way that's mutually beneficial and, you know, hopefully even more beneficial to them. You know, Gary getting the role. This is hilarious. Perils of live interviews. You know, Gary getting the role, but having an audience that he could bring this project to and having pride of having ownership of that role. Right. And then, you know, this audience that you moved to come see this thing, to sell it out, to make enough money to pay for the location, you know, not to pay for the location, but they actually made more money than they would have, you know. All of those things, really, you know, at any point you could have thrown your hands up and said, you know, we're gonna have to compromise. Yeah. But you didn't. Yeah. And I think that's fascinating, and I think that's a lesson for everybody. Let's move on. Yes. Because this is a really cool thing for me personally, and I'm honored. You're going to be teaching a film class at a college. I'm going to let you tell the whole story, but well, tell them the news, because I think it's, you know, it's better coming from you, and it's. But I'm just honored and humbled. But go ahead.
All right. Well, I just started teaching this year at the University of Central Arkansas in Conway, Arkansas. I'm a film professor there, and I am going to be teaching in the spring the very first semester-long crowdsourcing and crowdfunding class that's ever been offered at a United States university. And the book that we're going to use for that class is RB's book.
And I am just floored by that. I am honored and humbled, and I'm thrilled. Tell the audience why it's important. Tell the audience why, you know, you could have went to a film. You have such a wide base of knowledge on both sides of the camera. You know, you're a creative. You know, and a great creative, but you're also a great businessman. You're a great producer, obviously, by virtue of the story that we just told. Yeah. Those were all producing solutions, you know, ways that you found solutions. It would have been probably very easy to go in and say, I'm going to do 6 months on the craft. Why did you decide to tackle the business end? Because crowdsourcing and crowdfunding, that, you know, the creative factors into it, of course, and it factors into finding the audience, but it really is the business of putting it together, a film, raising capital, finding an audience, moving that audience. So why the business side and not the craft side?
Well, I think it's really important. One of the things that we were just talking about, film education, I think, is really at a point where things are about to change. A lot of the older folks that have been teaching in film schools for a long time are very conversant in the theory of film. They're very conversant in the technical part of film, but they don't understand the new world that we're living in terms of how you get a film off the ground. Right. How you get the champions that will help you to get the resources that you need to make something. And that's something that every new filmmaker needs when they make their first project.
Yeah.
So I realized that when we did Rising Star, I was teaching part-time at the time, and I was trying to get something related to that, into the film curriculum, was met with a little bit of resistance because a lot of the folks didn't understand what it was.
Yeah.
Fast forward 10 years, Kickstarter now makes more for creators than the National Endowment of the Arts.
Crazy.
Other sites are making millions of dollars, in backers, for the films that they're supporting. This is something that needs to be taught.
Yeah.
And in this current academic climate, there's not many people who can, because it's so new. So I feel really fortunate that I'm sort of in that sort of middle ground where, I have traditional film experience, but I also have experience in this new world. This is something that people want to learn.
That's right.
The film students I talk to are so passionate about making their stuff, and they want to get people behind them to do it. They just don't know how.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a really great opportunity to get those skills across.
Yeah, and I agree. The thing that we hear on Stage 32 all the time from people who went to film school or are in film school now, or are even considering going back to film school, is they don't teach you about the business.
Yeah.
They teach you everything craft-wise, and then they kind of leave you off at the curb, and then it's sort of, how do I get a job? So I think it's incredibly progressive that you're taking on the business side. I wish more schools did it. It's one of the reasons why I say there are ways to get a film education and a film business education without going to school, because there are sites like Stage 32 with all this education. But it's awesome to hear that you're bringing it to the universities. And I love, you said earlier off camera, and he's going to be humble about this, but when he talked about the sea change that's going to happen, what he feels is going to happen in film schools, he wants to be at the forefront of that, and you have the awareness and the wherewithal to do that, and I think it's just amazing, and I couldn't be more proud to be a part of it.
Oh, thanks. I'm excited about it. This kind of thing is met with a little bit of nervousness.
Of course. People hate change.
Yeah, but from the student side of it, there's been an excitement that I haven't seen for any kind of film class, because it's so new.
Yeah.
And people, they get it. People have backed crowdfunding campaigns before.
Yeah.
They've seen, some of their bigger projects get made that way, and they want to learn how to do that so they can make their own stuff. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, I think it is as well. I'm just looking forward to it, man. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get out there and sit with the kids and everything like that, and I'm really looking forward to that. But again, I'm so deeply appreciative, and it should be noted that the way they're going to do this with the curriculum is another film that you made. Yeah. So it's going to be a film that Marty has already filmed, that they're going to raise funds for post.
Yep.
But through that, they're going to identify, engage, and move an audience through the semester, so that when they're ready to raise the money, they could push play, and people will go run. You got that army of boots, on the ground, and they're ready to run for you. So that's kind of where the curriculum's going, which I think is, again, a very progressive kind of thing. It's filmmakers I don't think understand today. Creatives in general I don't think understand today. Not all, many do, but a lot don't. That you really need to understand the business and not just the craft. It's a DIY world. The old systems are crumbling. This idea of theatrical distribution, as opposed to controlling everything through distribution, maybe even self-distributing. Yep. To be able to do that, you need to have a worldview and an understanding about how things work. And that's why I think this is so fascinating. And that's why, quite honestly, it was a no-brainer to include, you as a case study and Rising Star as a case study in the book, because you were doing it when many weren't. You were at the forefront of it. So, again, if you're out there and you're looking to make a film, and you're interested in the business end of this thing and everything like that, learn as much as you can about all things. The book, I'm gonna plug my own book, but Crowdsourcing for Filmmakers, Indie Film and the Power of the Crowd. It's not about crowdfunding, although there are examples of crowdfunding in it. Yep. It's available on Amazon. It's available for free on Audible. Trust me, I don't get rich off this fucking book. Trust me. So I'm not plugging it to make money. I'm plugging it because I think it's I think it's very worthwhile, and I think it's very timely, and I think it's right now. Yep. So, pick it up. But also check out Marty, follow him on social media. We will be documenting how this thing goes throughout the entire semester. It begins in January, and I'm just thrilled, man, and I love you, brother. I appreciate you very much so.
Same here.
Thanks for being here.
Of course.
See you guys later.